Welcome to Stargate SG-1 for the first time. Still not a Star Trek podcast. My name is Jeff Aiken, and I'm watching Stargate SG-1 for the first time.
And I'm Brent Allen, and I'm watching Stargate SG-1 for the 47th time. But for the first time, I'm searching out some messages hidden deep within the show. Jeff and I are two veteran Star Trek podcasters who joined forces to bring you Babylon 5 for the first time. And we've had so much fun doing that, we decided to do it again with a show that many of you out there have said you wanted us to do.
So whether this is your first time through the gate or your 47th, we invite you to come along on this journey with us as we give what I'm told it's a pretty good show. Well, we'll see. Stargate SG-1. We're going to give it the for the first time treatment. For me, since this is my first time, I'm just going to be experiencing this as it unfolds, bringing all of you along with me to relive your first viewing experience.
But we are still going to be looking for what we have come to call those Star Trek-like messages, those sci-fi messages, really, wherever they pop up throughout the show. You know, those messages that hold up a mirror to society, give us hope that things can be better in the future, or just plain tell us how to be better human beings to each other.
And since this is still not a Star Trek podcast, we are going to bring over a game. We love our games on the For the First Time shows, and we're going to play one from the Babylon 5, one called The Rule of Three. The Rule of Three means we are limited to no more than 3 references to Star Trek per episode.
That's it. 3. Uno, dos, tres. No substitutions, exchanges, or refund.
And if we do make one of those references, you're going to hear this.
However, we are adding something new to the Rule of Three right here for the Stargate show. Anytime we make a Babylon 5 reference, you're going to hear this.
Oh, yes.
And of course, those references are unlimited.
All right, man, I can't wait anymore. Let's kick off this week's episode. But just before we do, I just want to kind of wrap up a few thoughts from last week. The episode we're heading into is The Enemy Within. And we ended last week's episode with Kowalski getting a Gould.
Good. Yeah.
I'm getting it. Kind of jumped into him.
Yeah,
and
a baby Gould. It was a real baby Gould.
A little itty bitty baby.
It was a larval one. Yeah. Not a larval one. Yeah.
So cute. It's just
Not
cute. What bad could happen? I mean, what bad? Right. The episode ended with him opening his eyes, and we got the gold glow out of him. And so we got to meet the characters last week. I don't have a lot more thoughts on top of what we talked about, but I am looking forward in this one, kind of doubling down on my prediction to find out how it's going to impact Kowalski and what that's going to mean for SG2 and the rest of the team.
Well, all right, Jeff, as you said, this is season 1, episode 3, The Enemy Within. It's episode 3 because the pilot episode technically was episodes 1 and 2. The original air date was August 1st, 1997. So, Jeff, that actually, we're doing season 4 of Babylon 5 right now. Season 4 was 97. Like, these shows are actually happening at the same time, right?
How cool is that?
We did not plan that. That is something else.
It all worked out. Perfect.
Two fun notes just to kind of look for over the course of this particular episode, kind of behind the scenes sort of stuff. Amanda Tapping, who is the lady who plays Sam Carter, fantastic actress, one of my favorites. There's a scene in this episode where she gets shoved into an elevator, and when she did that, in real life she suffered a concussion. So and I'm almost sure, I could be wrong, but I'm almost sure that the shot they used of her was the one where she got the concussion.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I wonder if there's anybody else in the elevator with her, because if there is, just heads up, we're gonna reprise an old hit. It's warning, just fair warning for you.
Oh, and then so Teal'c has the thing on his forehead.
Is that a tattoo or don't tell me. Never mind. I'm guessing it's a thing.
Do you want to know? It's not really.
They'll tell me eventually, right?
Eventually, yes.
Okay.
They will tell you yes, and yes, eventually. Okay. But we'll call it the yes, that thing. the makeup department hasn't decided which way is up yet. And so if you watch it, it actually like it kind of flips sometimes. So
That'll be fun.
Anyway, all right, let's jump into this week's episode, The Enemy Within. If you guys are just joining us for the very first time, the way this works is Jeff and I are going to watch this episode for the first time right now together. We're going to pause what we're doing. We're going to watch this episode. And if you're watching us on YouTube, you are going to get the reaction cut up video, the reaction video that we normally put out. You're going to get that. However, if you would like to see the full unedited reaction, you can head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/Babylon5 first, because that is still our main show. And you'll get the full unedited reaction from Jeff and I.
And for those of you listening to us on a podcasting app like Good Pods or Spotify or Apple Podcasts or something like that, well, it's just going to skip over the reaction altogether. So make sure you stick around, because right after the episode ends, if you're watching us on a video thing, if you're on the audio thing, just wait a couple seconds. But we're going to do the podcast thing, right? Where I'm going to break down what I just saw, kind of go through my first time experience. And then Brent is going to tackle any messages that might have come up in that episode. So let's do this. Oh, it's like a movie.
Hey, did you know this is an MGM show?
Oh, it's
These planets designated
it was a movie.
P575 and P3A577 have been submitted
Oh,
by
yeah.
Captain Carter's
P3A577
team as
Alpha.
possible.
You know, I'm kind of partial to P3575. If you don't mind taking P3A577.
No, I'll take
I'm not
577.
married to it. I want to be fair about this. How about we flip it?
How about you go where I tell you?
Repeat, inbound traveler.
Trying to come through
Closing
again.
the iris.
I feel like it should have been incoming person closing the iris. No pause.
All defense teams stand by.
Smack, smack.
Hey, Jeff, I got a joke for you. What's the last thing to go through a Gould's mind right before he hits the iris?
What's that?
His butt.
Oh, that is good. Oh, speaking of Gould butts.
Yep.
Took a fistful of aspirin, but nothing helps.
Get down the
That's
infirmary, get
pretty
it
healthy.
checked out. Come on.
Jeez.
Sir, I think I'll
My blood's literally like water coursing through my veins right
By
now.
all means, Major.
What kind of headache do you have? I don't know. It's right here in my brain stem. It feels kind of like a worm or something. I don't know. I'm fine. I took aspirin. It is kind of funny how you can like hear him smack. Like it literally is the bugs on the windshield kind of a thing.
There's a few times if you watch it, you can actually see the iris like.
They probably got dudes back there just hitting it, yeah?
Yeah.
A lot of American flags right there.
It's bad news, General.
I'm rejecting your request to have Teal'c join SG-1. Wasn't my choice. After all, he's carrying the larval form of a hostile and very formidable enemy inside his body.
To his body.
What kind of tests are we talking about?
No, we're going to cut him open.
Maybe you haven't noticed, Colonel, but he is the first alien species we've actually run into. You don't think that qualifies your friend as a subject of scientific interest?
I don't think he saved the lives of my team or came over to our side so we could become a damn guinea pig for U.S. military intelligence.
Back up.
That's pretty much how it happened in real life, though, right? Like, oh, we have an alien and he's been helpful. Cool, let's chop him up and study him.
Interrupting anything?
Am I a prisoner?
Oh, are you able to leave?
Yeah.
Yes.
I understand. I am a Jafar. I have carried your enemy within me.
That sounds gross.
Well, it's kind of a human thing. We tend to be afraid of things we don't know.
Why is I not afraid?
Excuse me for a minute, Jeff.
Right? Yeah, that was for you.
I will prove my allegiance, O'Neill.
Teal'c, I sure wish you didn't have to.
If aliens ever show up, like already I'll say it, I want O'Neill there for first contact. He seems like uniquely prepared to be welcoming to people.
And these headaches, Major, they started when you came back from your last mission.
Yeah. They've been getting worse.
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes my eyes light up the
Anybody else
room.
on the
Right.
team experience?
I've been wanting to tell you that forever, Kowalski. Your eyes always light up the
Why?
room. Oh,
Could be a reaction
not the
to
time?
heat travel. What's this?
Oh, yeah.
You didn't know
Is that a vertebrae sticking out?
Notice what?
It's moving.
Major!
Whoa!
snap that dude's neck, man.
Just like nothing.
Planet we find. What is Major Kowalski doing in the embarkation room?
It's the embarkation room, Jeff. That's the
That's what they
technical
call
term
that.
for it.
You and General Hammond to the embarkation.
Rolls right
room
off the
now.
tongue.
Yes, ma'am.
Sounds very official that way.
It really does.
Charlie? Major Kowalski?
Jack? What am I doing here?
It's kind of like in and out, trading consciousness right
We got
now.
a sick man here.
This is Colonel Kennedy.
I'm extraordinarily pleased to meet you, sir.
I offer my knowledge of the Goa'ulds.
It's weird to have a
What can
Kennedy
you
in the
tell us
dark.
about the power source the Goulds use to power their weapons, ships?
Nothing.
He's a warrior. Why would he know that?
Have an understanding of the physics behind the Stargate?
No.
Does he look like he understands physics?
Knowledge of gold magic is forbidden.
Magic.
Magic, Teal'c. Permission to barge in, sir?
Perhaps now's not the time.
General, you know what I went and did? I told Teal'c how we all respect a person's rights in this country.
I assure you,
do
there's
that
nothing
for?
untoward taking place here, Colonel. Please, join us.
That's Teal'c with
O'Neill.
an apostrophe. T-E-A-L apostrophe C.
Colonel,
Yes, sir.
Very well. Teal'c,
Totally playing advocate for him. I love
what
it.
can you tell me about the Goulds?
If they could kill you, they would. It would take many vessels, many slave armies.
These slaves, where do they come from?
There is a tale of a primitive world the Goa'ulds discovered millennia ago, the Tari.
Tari.
First world where forms of this type evolved.
Beings of this form evolved here on Earth.
This world.
Is the world you're talking about, Teal'c?
And the galaxy is populated by the ancient peoples of Earth.
It's quite the circle right there.
Right?
Mine.
So the Tori, they call it the Tori.
They said Tori here. They will eventually begin to call it the Teal'c.
Basically, like Earth is the soylent green of Tauri. It's Earth.
Yeah. Yeah,
You're
we-
eating Earth.
That's the idea is we are the Teal'c, and the ancient Goa'uld came and they took some
Harvested.
humans. They took some humans as hosts. They took
Some
some
as
humans
Jaffa.
and turned them into Jaffa.
Mhm.
And then they took others as slaves and seeded the other worlds out there. So all the people out there are descendants of those of us
Of
who are on
Earth. Wow. Okay. That's huge.
That's a nice little information dump they didn't tell you in the last episode. And
Yeah, no.
I had to hold my tongue. I got to be honest. Like, oh, they'll tell them real soon.
All right, here's that MRI.
Yeah, the machine he was in was in a CT machine.
By the
Not
silence
an
around
MRI.
here,
Oh.
Seems like the Goulds have finally given up.
It's almost like you hang out with doctors or
When's the last
something.
time you slept? I don't know. But you can't stay awake forever.
You ever seen Nightmare on Elm Street? You'd be surprised. Great.
Look at that. Look at that around his neck.
Yeah, you got the thing there.
Look, it's all around him.
Oh, it's like totally intertwining.
Okay. And they enter from the same place that the shadows hook up their telepaths or
Oh.
not the telepaths, but the people into
The CPU units.
Yeah.
The Anna had.
Yeah.
Major Kowalski.
Oh, yes.
I'm taking you off active duty as of now.
Uh-oh. Look at him.
Oh, and he's gonna set the. Yep.
Close the blast doors! Emergency in the control room! Emergency in the control room!
You take that a couple ways. Like that's Kowalski reaching through for help, or the Gould just wants her help. Let them.
Concussion.
That was the one.
You guys.
Charlie, what the hell's going on? I don't have a clue, Colonel. But she's hurt bad. We have to get her to the infirmary.
For real. Like,
All of a
seriously.
sudden, I hear Urkel going, "Did I do that?"
What do you think about it? That's got to be really jarring. You know, you're just.
Spine.
He was in the CT machine last time. You know, he was there.
Having an MRI.
That TRICARE stuff is really, really messed up. Ooh,
It's,
look at that.
It's a Goa'uld.
When was the first time you blacked out?
I was into some weird stuff in college,
was
man.
here.
There's a lot of in and out that happens there.
You gotta get this thing out of me.
That's the plan.
I've taken Major Kowalski off all pain medication to increase his alertness. This should increase his ability to resist.
When can you remove it? Can it be done or not?
Possibly.
You just tell me who you need to assist. Anyone in the world. I'll have them here within 24 hours.
Teal'c, stand and face this way, please.
What is the emergency?
That's none of your concern now.
Kowalski's become infected with a glue.
And you wish to see if I still carry the gold within me.
God, he does things.
Excuse me. While I whip this out.
Mine's bigger than yours.
What are its demands?
Number 3.
I have a proposition.
Release me now or I will destroy you.
If you're unwilling to leave, we will be forced to surgically...
Whoa.
Release me now.
Take me!
You got that I'm a god language down pretty solid.
Hold your fire.
Oh, God.
It's all right, son. I won't put you through that again.
I mean, at least he doesn't have to like watch while this stuff is
I want to
happening.
know
You know,
the
like we get
minute
that in
that
sci-fi a
godforsaken
lot,
thing
where they're
is
just
taken
an
out of my
unwilling
office.
participant.
Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
I know that many of you have served with Major Kowalski, so please forgive me if what I'm about to suggest appears in any way callous.
Yeah.
But I believe surgical removal of the parasite may be a mistake. Please don't misunderstand. We all wish the invading parasite in Major Kowalski's body could be safely removed, but the facts are the facts.
I don't know that I disagree with Kennedy here.
If we proceed with this operation,
I mean, just logically.
died in vain.
And if we don't?
Well, let's consider that for a moment.
I've thought about it. You thought about it? I think we've all thought
Bolas,
Any more
basically.
thinking to be done?
From Dune.
Imagine if we could convince this
Woke-
Gould to
awakened
share
Gola.
that knowledge. What if we just faced up to the fact of Major Kowalski's slim chances of survival and realized that the greatest enemy mankind may ever face has just been delivered right to our doorstep? How much
Just
could we...
what kind of an officer are you, Colonel?
There you go, Hammond.
Sir?
As long as there is a snowball's chance in hell that my officer will come out of this procedure alive, we'll go ahead with it.
I'd be interested to hear you do like a Starfleet leadership thing on what Hammond just did there as a leader.
Right.
To shut that down and be like, what are you?
Yeah.
Like, you're not wrong,
no
but you're
communication
completely
at all
wrong
between
because that's not how we operate
You
as
and the
humans.
symbiote?
That's tough because like there's questions I would have wanted to ask the Gould. You know, you want to find a win for it. Hey, is there something other than a body? Could we find like a dog? Would that be okay? You know, something. But
This could be my
That's the
last
Gould.
conversation.
Ah, for crying out loud. It's not your last conversation.
when you've lived, you know, in that kind
Last
of a
conversation.
life of just take.
Some other planet
Yeah, P3A575.
They'd say P3 Alpha, by the way. So
This was gonna be my first real command.
You still can, Charlie.
Do you really think he's going back out there after all this?
all right. Hey, you survived. Now you're going to be a head in a jar on Futurama.
Listen, I gotta ask you something.
You ever going to pay me back that $5,000 I loaned you?
If you don't make it, can I have your stereo?
Not far off.
I was sitting there thinking, I was like, dude, you kind of nailed that.
You're right.
Get him some water or something, dude. He looks like he's dying of thirst.
That's a good thing that the
Does that
surgery
strike
bay is
you
well
as a
lit.
particularly clean OR right there?
No, I feel like I'm watching Battlestar Galactica right now.
Are you ready?
I want to say
For anesthesia? Yes. Yes, I
General
am.
Hammond, sir.
I'm here, son.
Rotate him up so he can talk.
This doesn't work.
He's just facing the ground while
I
he's
want you
saying
to
this.
give the order.
It was really cool of Tommy
Wake
Lee
up
to
this
let him
way or not
use
at
the drum set rotating thing for this. You know, it sucks because like they're doing a lot of work to like emotionally connect us to Kowalski in ways, and that's just like paving the road for him to die. That's I don't think he's going to, but if he did, like they're paving the road very well.
For it to hit. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At least it's going well.
That's fantastic. If we can reverse what's happened to the Major, then there's still a chance for Shara.
And Skara. Don't forget Skara.
I forgot about that kid. He costs a lot to cast. He was in a movie.
He was the special guest star.
There seems to be some.
Yeah, I do wonder, like with Shara or Skara, like is it a thing like over time they just become too entrenched or something? Like it's a timing thing to reclaim them.
So Teal'c did say earlier, like once a Gould takes a hold of you, like
I'd like to proceed.
That's it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you, that's what the Gould said, and that's what the Gould told the Jaffa.
Right?
Is that
Yeah.
true? I'm gonna let you wonder that for the length of this show. Look at that. There it is.
I pulled something like that out of the drain once.
I'm pretty sure
That's
I had an
part of
earwax
it.
thing come like out of my ear like that once.
So is that the whole thing?
Can you move?
That was all of it? They think it's all of it, right?
The implication is they got all of it.
Okay.
Listen, in case the colonel can't talk him out of it, I'd like a minute alone with Teal'c before they ship him out.
I think that can be arranged.
I have a message to give him from my Gould.
You don't think they got it all?
Hey.
No.
You think he's still got the gold in him?
I do.
Shake hands with the man who helped save my life.
That's too easy, you know? I guess all it takes is to do some anesthesia.
Well, they got to figure out something.
Goosh. Yep. Oh. Wow.
Dude, that was a Captain Kirk karate chop.
So because he wasn't
Judo
born
chop.
You know, at this point, don't you let him like enter the coordinates into the computer system?
Right. Just get that far.
You like let him
get
get that far and
6.
then shut it down.
Yeah. Get the 6 so you already know you're 7.
Jaffa. Gunshot. You cannot pass.
You shall not pass. They already have it. Dude, he literally has one move. Go for the throat. It's a Stargate swirly.
Open the blast doors.
Oh, make that a t-shirt. His head half it's Stargate swirling.
Shut it down!
Jeff, look up. Welcome to Showtime, baby.
Right.
There it is. And it did that for whatever reason. Imagine that's what happened with our bodies. Like if when we died, we just deflated. Like,
Oh, absolutely. That's good to hear.
he's on the red telephone, Jeff.
Yeah, the bat
Well,
phone.
hell, sir, he's right here. Why don't you tell him yourself? I'm sure he'd like to hear it from you.
Mr. President.
Yes, Mr. President.
Yep.
Colonel O'Neill, is SG-1 ready to ship out?
We are, sir.
Then you have a go for a standard recon mission on P3575.
Yes, sir.
Reporting as ordered.
Look, Jeff, he's got a uniform.
Everything. They should figure out a way to make more of those staff gun things.
Here you go. All right, Jeff. What about it?
I'm just going to take you kind of through the sequence of events here for me, right? Like kind of just stepping through.
Yeah.
All in all, enjoyable episode. We learned some huge and heavy stuff. We learned about the iris, 3 micrometers from the thing so that the matter can't reconstitute. And the Gould are trying to bust through and attack them, but they're going to stop, 1 or 2 more times. They're going to quit because whatever. I liked that we learned more about Teal'c. Very stoic, almost. Yes. I mean, honestly, at this point, I don't know. It just, the warrior, and quiet and just kind of taking things how they are.
Yes.
He said a thing I found to be confusing. So last week in the pilot, he saw O'Neill's watch and he's like, this is not Gould technology. Yet here he talks about Gould magic. And so it's like, is it magic? Is it technology? But the next big thing we learned about the Tauri.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah.
So the next big thing makes me understand that, and that these Gould have been around now for millennia, for a very long time, seeded us from Earth. We are the Tauri. And so they're obviously feeding the information that people want. So this is magic. This is tech, even though it's all tech or whatever. So learning a lot more about the Gould. The Kowalski stuff, I think there's a really great debate in here to have around what Colonel Kennedy brought on board. The debate between, do we do everything we can? Do we lean towards our humanity to do everything we can to save Kowalski? Or do we lean towards logic and just let the Gould take over and question and learn everything we can. It's almost a needs of the many versus the needs of the few, or the one kind of a conversation to have. But I also think it's appropriate kind of a conversation, because I tell you what, if we have aliens here, that's what we did. Like we're not going to treat them. We're not going to lean towards humanity. That might be the cynic in me speaking, but I feel like that was quite, for you maybe in the future, a bit of a mirror to society on how we're going to treat people. I'm becoming a huge fan of O'Neill, big time.
Yeah.
The guy's cool. He's making great jokes. I think, though, my favorite thing about him is just how coolly and simply and calmly welcoming he is. Sitting across from Teal'c, a mystery in every way. We don't know anything about this guy. And he's just meeting him like he's another dude, just, yep, hey, at a core place, we don't have a better word to use than basic core humanity. I wish we had a better word than humanity, but that's how he's treating them. Hey, we're cool. We got one little flash scene at the end of him arguing, hey, just because he wasn't born here, he doesn't get the same rights. Like, what's the deal? I thought that was great and a big piece. I kind of lost it with how this episode ended, though. The Kowalski stuff was kind of ridiculous. He's been taken over by Kree, the Gould that jumped over to him.
I want to stop. That was you might be picking that up from what you read in the subtitle. That is not what he said. He did not say my name is Kree. That is not what he said. We never got the Gould's name. He said Jaffa Kree, which is something you will hear the Gould say to, like, it's their Jaffa, like, Jaffa, attention. Jaffa, listen. Okay. Jaffa, it's, like aloha in Hawaii means like 84 different things.
Yeah.
Kree means that same thing in Gouldese.
Okay. I thought he said, I'm called Kree.
The called Kree said that as well. He said, my name is Kree. That's not, he just said Jaffa Kree. Like, shut up. Listen. Attention.
Here I thought I picked something up. Right?
Yeah, no.
Look at that. But I kind of did. It's a word. Yeah. But he gets wrapped around Kowalski's vertebrae and going through the thing. Everything was great. Even Sam and Kowalski in an elevator. Brent, that's 2 series that we've got to do that in. It's pretty cool. That was fine. Then we get to the surgery. And what they literally show us in the surgery is Dr. Dude cutting the Gould in half and slipping out half of it. And that half was like massive. Yeah. But he's like, okay, mission accomplished. I'm like, you cut it in half. And then, oh my gosh, how shocking. He wakes up, and after an extreme surgery, he gets up, chokes out Teal'c, takes out a number of military personnel. Like, this isn't, like, really, no one's going to stop him. You even said it during the reaction. He jumps in, he's like, everybody get out. And they're like, okay, I guess we'll just get out because a guy in a hospital gown yelled at us.
Right.
Like, really? You're going to make it all the way?
It took the gate technician guy, like the little kind of wimpy, dude, to get his wrist broken because he was the only one willing to try to stop it. I'm telling you, that guy right there, you will eventually learn his name. I'm going to let you learn it in real time. That guy, he's like the Miles O'Brien of he's the most important man on the show.
Okay.
He's that guy right there. He's just, everything revolves around him. Right now, he's gate guy. He's gate technician guy.
Gate technician guy. He's the GTG, as it were. So, and then he dies. Teal'c, brutal, takes him out, and then a little piece falls out, and I'm just like,
that's exactly the doctor left.
Yeah, it's exactly what they showed us. Like,
you said that, and I was like, damn, he picked it up.
Like, I've here, like, in all capitals, I'm like, isn't that exactly what we saw happen? Right. Why is anybody surprised? Wow. So
how much medical malpractice did that doctor do by leaving half of the Gould in his head?
Right. I mean, the only thing he could have done worse is, oh, sorry, I left a sponge and my scalpel in there too. Like, wow. But I do, one thing that I really appreciated was, again, God, this series so far, I mean, we're 2 episodes in. It does a really good job of, like, question answer around the world building, just giving us enough so far. So I made a note, and it was, if the Goa'uld take over Kowalski, how does Teal'c not get taken over? Like, is that what being prepped as a Jaffa is making it so you hold it and it doesn't take you over?
Ask that question one more time, because I think I can answer it.
So, I'll give you the second way I wrote it. First, if the Goa'uld are the dude's taking over Kowalski, doesn't have control over it.
Yeah.
How is it that Teal'c isn't getting taken over?
Mm.
And so the way I that's how I rephrased it, because I might answer. I said, is it a question of in the belly versus in the head? Like, is it almost that simple?
Well, it's a question of what they're doing, because when they actually go into the head, into the brain, the Goa'uld is melding with the host. When the Goa'uld is incubating effectively in the Jaffa, that Goa'uld is not doing anything with the Jaffa. He's just hanging out there,
just in a chamber,
in a womb.
like,
like he's just basically in a chamber, a womb, something, waiting to go do something else. So
okay,
that's two very different things that they're doing.
Okay, that makes sense.
There is no communication between Goa'uld and Jaffa.
They just happen to be in the same space.
Yeah, like they one doesn't know what the other's thinking. You're not, impressing it with your thoughts, and just for whatever reason, the Goa'uld can like open up their shirt and like call the thing forth, and it comes out, and then he's like, no, I'm going to go back in. Like, that's about the only like control, I guess, that they kind of have over each other.
It's almost like a muscle contraction, even like it's not as like
it might even be that. It might be the Jaffa's like muscles contracting, pushing him out versus like sucking him back in. Those are some wicked strong Kegel muscles, man.
For real. Dude, look at this. And so I think it answers my question. But the other question I had was like, do they have to have a host? Can they survive outside of a host? And it sounds like they do need to have one.
The Goa'uld?
The Goa'uld.
Yes, they can survive outside of a host, but keep in mind, they're just a snake at that point, and they don't have thumbs.
Oh, yeah. They're no better than monkeys, really, at that point. But yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. The ending really, all that Kowalski stuff, man, that it went from interesting and kind of cool to just like, oh God, it's literal sci-fi of the week kind of I was pretty disappointed in the ending.
So let me just say this, because I haven't said this yet. This is before we went on mic. I was like, I want to say this or I want to save it. Here's where I'm going to say what I was going to say earlier. When you and I first started doing Babylon 5, we said to each other, hey, we're 90s sci-fi guys. We know how the early seasons of sci-fi go, and we know that they can be kind of rough. Babylon 5 honestly, Babylon 5 had one of the better first seasons that I've ever seen. I think by the time we're through all 22 episodes, you're going to look back at Stargate's first season and be like, it's actually a relatively strong season. Although there are definitely some hard episodes. And this one is there. We'll see where it winds up in the ranking.
Yeah, well, as I say, we'll talk about that here shortly. But that makes sense, because even, I mean, not to make this about Babylon 5, but just so we can do it.
Oh, yes.
That had some rough episodes too, but we agreed at the end it was one of the stronger 90s first seasons there were. So it's expected, and there's a lot of episodes. This one had a really good, I'd say 2/3, 3/4 was really, really good. In this one. But that's what I think of this. Just kind of my. Let
me ask you this. Can I ask a question?
Yeah, of course.
Were you surprised that on episode 2 Kowalski died?
No, not really.
Okay.
I think, and I think part of that is because this is 97, right? So this isn't early 90s sci-fi, and we're starting to get a little bit gritty. And I think they wanted to show really early on that the Goa'uld are a for real threat. And the only way you do that, like I said it during the reaction, they're going out of their way to give us tiny little emotional connections to him. So when he dies, we feel it.
Yeah, fair enough. I think I'm personally always surprised that they kill Kowalski so fast because he's a character from the film. He's a carryover. He's a big part. Like he's the commander of SG2, which this is SG1, not SG2. That's okay. But like you would expect him to be a guy who's around for a while, you know. And no, they actually killed him. But I like what you just said because it really, from the outset, shows just how deadly the Goa'uld are, messing with them, even the infant Goa'uld.
Yeah, I think that it's an interesting time in television, the late '90s into the early 2000s. When people talk about things like Star Trek Enterprise or Battlestar Galactica that came out in the early 2000s, how 9/11 really changed the kind of TV we were watching.
Yeah,
but we were ramping up, in television to become a little more grittier overall. And I think a real consistent mechanism that they used for that was the violent death of somebody on the show. Maybe not necessarily a main cast member, but somebody, that you connected with. So not shocking. So a little disappointing, especially like it makes sense. I didn't know he was in the movie, but like when he and Ferretti showed up in the last episode, I can definitely understand how that Ferretti was probably in the movie too.
Yeah, both of them were. Yeah. Played by different actors. They were recast for the show, but yeah.
So that's it for my first watch. Did you catch any of those good sci-fi messages?
Oh boy, I did, because I went into this kind of going, yeah, maybe not. Look, okay. One, there is the line that Jack had is that it's kind of a human thing. We tend to be afraid of things that we don't know. Like, holy cow, hit you between the eyes. They didn't really elaborate on it a whole lot. They didn't go super far into it because there was actually so much more. This is actually, this is one of those things, Jeff. I got to be honest. This is not my favorite episode of the show. I tend to skip this one when I do rewatches, unless I'm doing, unless I forget to hit skip. It's like I might look at, oh yeah. After watching this episode through this lens for the first time, my opinion of this episode is skyrocketed.
Yeah,
it has really skyrocketed. Here's the thing. It is really interesting to me that both Teal'c and Kowalski have a Goa'uld in them. One of the two Goa'ulds was actually malevolent. One of the two Goa'ulds was actively killing people, actively hurting people, was a true threat. Yet for that one, Kowalski's, they did everything they could to honor and respect and maintain his humanity. But for Teal'c, whose Goa'uld had not taken over everyone, had not actually been a threat, is contained, because I think we just decided that he's kegling that thing and not letting him out, right?
Goa'uld kegels.
Exactly. He is untrusted. He is a prisoner. They want to interrogate him. And let's face it, Kennedy was going to dissect Teal'c.
Oh, 100%.
He was going to go full Talia Winters on him. Like, he was going to do to her what Bester did to Talia, right?
Oh, yes.
He absolutely was going to dissect him. He wasn't even a human to them because he was an alien. He was a Jaffa. He's not even human. He had no humanity. He has no rights. He has nothing that we have to respect at all. Jack even called that out. Yeah. He's walking in when he's meeting Kennedy and Hammond's there, and he's like, you know what I did? I went and told Teal'c that we respect a person's rights here in this country. I was like, oh, shoot. And I'm reminded immediately of Star Trek. I'm reminded of Captain Kirk on the bridge in, I want to say it was Corbomite Maneuver, when the other ship had broken down, little young
Clint Howard.
Yeah, Clint Howard, his ship broke down. And Kirk turns around and goes, it's time to see if our high sounding morals actually mean anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He's like, we respect a person's, we believe in people's rights here, at least in America. And I would say for those who are listening around the world, most of the people who listen to this show are in a country where respecting someone's rights are at least a value that we state.
Mm-hmm.
Do we really do it though when the chips are down? And here's what we learned, Jeff. As much as they tried to deny Teal'c's humanity because he's a Jaffa, we also learned that Jaffa are in fact humans.
Right?
They are humans. And they completely miss the victimhood of not only Teal'c, but Jaffa everywhere. That they are as much victims as much as Kowalski is a victim to the Gould. But they won't give that respect to Teal'c, but they're going to give it all over to Kowalski. I think even when you compare the three, look at the three main people. Jack, the way he treats Teal'c, you pointed it out, talked about it so eloquently. Jack stayed static. He treated Teal'c the same at the beginning as he did at the end. Good. Kennedy stayed static. He treated Teal'c at the beginning the same way he treated him at the end.
Mm-hmm.
What I loved was Hammond.
Yeah, he had a
look at how Hammond started the episode treating Teal'c more on Kennedy's side, and he went through the journey to come over to Jack's side. I love that we got that, but I will tell you what I also loved in the middle of this, and I never thought about this before. Back when I was doing Beam Me Up, a Star Trek podcast, when we got to Star Trek Enterprise, I realized something, that the message of Star Trek Enterprise is that humans, what we have to offer as humans is the hope of the universe. Because in the Star Trek world, you had the Vulcans and they were fighting with these people and these people were fighting with these people. It wasn't until humans came on the scene, albeit early, until they came on the scene when they were able to talk to everybody and bring people together into a united federation of planets. It wasn't until humanity came on the scene that we could do that. It wasn't the Vulcans who did that.
Mm-mm.
It wasn't the other people who did that. It was the humans. Think about Babylon 5. Right? You have the shadows, and now what we know are the Vorlons, and they're just engaging in these wars. And they fought the Minbari, they fought the Narn. Well, you know what's different about wherever they are right now? You know what's I'm guessing, I don't know yet, but I'm guessing we're gonna see the end of the ultimate end of the Shadow of Vorlon War by like the end of season 5 or something. You know what's different this time?
Humans
are here.
Yeah.
Right? They said this. So the humans are the Tauri. We seeded everybody. Because we rebelled, we are in the best position to go rescue all those people out there. And guess what? All those folks out there, they're our own. They are our own. We are the greatest hope of the universe. All of this comes back to that same idea of, are we going to treat them, whether they're from this planet or not? They are our descendants. Are we going to give them respect? Are we going to give them their humanity? Okay, let's put that to right now. Whether they're from this country or from another country, are you going to give them respect? Because they're still humans. Are you going to treat them with their humanity? Or are you just going to see them as an illegal invader and try to bust them out? Oh, they came here and then had kids just so they could claim citizenship. Who freaking cares? That is a person.
Yeah.
You know? Now we got to deal with some stuff, but it's Jeff, this episode is chock full if you just sit back and look at it, man.
Yeah.
And I can't even say that it was intended, but my gosh, is it there?
Before we went on mic, we were kind of talking this through. You're like, yeah, I don't know what it's going to be, but I really don't think there's going to be a lot of a message in this one, so it should be pretty quick. But here we are at the point, Brent, where we're going to do the for the first time thing, and I'm almost more excited about this next part than I am in retrospect for having watched the episode. But you have the responsibility right now of taking that message you just gave us so well spoken. Now you have to boil that down into a rating. You're going to rate this on a scale of 0 to 5 chevrons as to how strong the message was. Please, Brent, I am dying to know what your rating is.
There's everything in me wants to go with a 5 chevron. This is not 5 chevrons.
It's not.
Because I think a big piece of that, and we've often talked about, is the intentionality of the writers to say, this is the message I'm trying to get out. And I don't know that the writer was really fully going that route with it.
Really? It was so apparent.
Although we had this great line, we are often afraid of those things that we don't know. Yeah. And we had these great things. So I definitely think that there was some intentionality. I don't think he was going with humanity as the hope of the universe type thing.
Agreed.
As much as just, hey, we are the ones who are in best position to go get our guys, and here's a little bit of the history of what happened. So I'm gonna give the writer like half credit on intentionality, but the messages, if you really look at them, are fairly replete. I'm going, oh, Jeff, I think I'm going 4.5.
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna go 4.5 chevrons on this one because this, I told you my respect for this episode skyrocketed. Now I've not had time to think this through and mull it over, but where I am right now, my respect for the show is absolutely skyrocketed. There is so much in this show that is right there. The only thing I think that knocks it down is I'm just giving him half credit for intentionality. Other than that, it's a great episode, great message episode. This could fit in Star Trek super easy.
Yeah.
It's that sci-fi message, right? Like all the way
100%.
through.
Yeah. It's a little more generous than I would have been with it. About 0.5 more generous, but
I was gonna say 3.5, but then I was like, no, it's 4. Actually,
yeah, it's powerful. I mean, even like if you go back and you watch in the reaction, like Brent's even just like, oh, writing this one down. Like, here it is.
Oh my gosh. Hey, it's amazing when you actually start looking for those, because I know these episodes really well. Just in my head, I was going, oh, this is an episode about addiction and how you treat somebody who's in the throes of addiction. That was where my pre-watching the episode was kind of thinking it was going to go.
Yeah.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, Jeff. So I rated this on chevrons. I'm saying 4.5 chevrons, man. I'm going to leave it there. You, however, get to rank the episode. Listen, it's only got one it's got to contend with right now. Last week was Children of the Gods. This week is Enemy Within. Jeff, where are you placing today's episode, Enemy Within?
Yeah, I'm going to get right to it. There's no real talk through. I think I've already shared my thoughts. This is number 2 at this point. And I mean, really, comparatively speaking, it is number 2. At least the last little bit of it. Just the last little bit of it.
Oh, Jeff. Ouch. That is awful.
Yeah.
All right, Jeff. Well, and that's going to be it, man. That's the show. That's going to do it for the Enemy Within. Next week, when we come back, Jeff, we are watching an episode called Emancipation. I promise you've seen this episode before.
Really?
That's the only hint I'm going to give you. You have seen this episode almost exactly before. Jeff, do you care to venture a guess whatsoever as to what this episode could be about?
This is going to be that one episode that's in a number of different series, probably, where they come to a planet. There's some oppressive thing going on. They side with the poor little plebeian people and bring them to freedom. This is going to be one of their first planets. This is their away mission. We're going to see them on another planet, and they're going to go free some enslaved people.
You're a good guesser, and that's all I'll say. I'm not commenting one way or the other. I just look. Well, we'll see next week.
Well, actually, let me do this. So I'm going to make a big mistake that I made. I've made in some of our other things. I'm going to get more specific. These slaves are not only just slaves, but they're actually like put into like they play games with them and like gladiator games, and it's very violent and it's very bad, and there's these overlords that are probably Goulds, I don't know, but like that bet on it, and it's a thing that they do, and they're going to have to break that whole thing up. I'm thinking along the lines of Gamesters of Triskelion right now, but I probably just got way too specific.
Like I said, you're a good guesser, and that's all I'm going to say. We will see right here next week on Stargate SG1 for the first time. Hey, folks out there, thank you guys so much for joining us. Don't forget you can subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Be sure to leave us a rating and review, and please share this podcast with somebody that loves Stargate SG1. And either they love it already or they're going to love it because they're going to join us on this journey. They're going to join Jeff on the journey for the first time. And maybe you're rediscovering some new things about the show along with me. So with that, until next time, folks, we appreciate everything that you guys are doing. And
hey, Brent.
Yes, Jeff.
I'm going to go try a Stargate Swirly.
Oh, for crying out loud. Stargate Swirly. Oh my God. I'm so glad you came up with that. All All right, Jeff.
Yeah,
that's an episode.
That was fun. That's good. I wore my Rush shirt very intentionally. I ended Club 65 last week with hey, it's a Rush song. So here's off their record Grace Under Pressure called The Enemy Within. Part 1 of Fear.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Does Rush have an emancipation song?
They don't. They really don't.
I thought you said they were a good band, man.
Hey now.
You're an all-star. Get you.
Yeah.
Oh, did you hear he died?
Yeah, like So yeah, I'm not gonna. Yeah, no, it's nothing I have to say about that. That's going to be helpful.
Okay. Yeah, probably better not then. All right, Jeff. So that's it. Yeah, that's our episode. So I'm gonna get out of here. Club 65, you guys are awesome. Thank you guys for hanging out. Drop 65 down in the comments below. Let us know you're here. And remember, we don't talk about Club 65 outside of Club 65. So
we sure don't.
All right. Bye, guys.
See ya.